Hi everyone, my name is Kadir. I work for Vaitu.com. We specialize in IBM integration bus development and administration. We provide exclusively support on development. We also provide training. We started in the year of 2015 and so far we have trained more than 100 candidates and we have developed more than 600 message flows. Most of the message flows are MQ based, and there are some other message flows like web services based message flows, file based database nodes, and few SAP based message flows. Whenever we work with MQ based message flows, we frequently use RFHUtil. That's a great tool. So that's the only tool available to test the MQ based message flows. But RFHUtil has few limitations. You cannot edit the message on the fly. You cannot print JSON messages. If you want to open multiple queues, if you want to see the messages sitting in multiple queues, you have to open RFHUtil multiple windows. And also you have to install MQ client as a prerequisite if you want RFHUtil to be working. So we felt that we have to develop a new product which will be a web-based product and that will support most of the missing features available in RFHUtil. So let's go to the product now. This is the product that we have developed. If you look into the screen, it mimics most of the features available from RFHUtil. This product is based on a framework called Warning, which supports all the browsers. Any browsers, any platform you have, you can simply open this application as a web-based applications. So let me explain the features available here. It will not have all the features that are available in RFHUtil, but it has all the most frequently used features needed for an IAB developer. Here is the drop-down queue manager where you can list out all the queue managers that you have. You just select the queue manager that you have configured in a text file and automatically it picks the text file configurations. And let me select one of the queue manager that I have in my local machine. I have this queue manager, IAB version 10 queue manager, which is sitting in my local host. So you can see here the host name, the port number, and channel name. All these are automatically picked up. And these values are sitting in your properties file behind the scenes. So once you have selected the queue manager, you can load the queue names. All the queues that are available in this queue manager are available if you click this button. So now you can go to input queue and you can see here all the queues that are available in this queue manager. You can select anything and it supports a filtering feature. You don't have to remember the queue names. You just have to say what it is, just type, it will automatically filter out the available queue names. Just for example, I have selected the test2.queue. So this is a queue. If you want to see, is there any message sitting in the queue? You can select display queue. This is what you already have in RFHUtil. So let me first explain what is not available in RFHUtil and which is exclusively available in this MQEdit product. So if you see here in the bottom of the page, you can see here there is an editor. So this editor supports all the message formats. It can be XML, it can be JSON, or it can be a simple text file. So let me paste an XML file and you can see here, it's all highlighting whatever you see in any standard tool, you can see the same. You can see the numbers And also you can see here that the tags are highlighted in different colors. So if you want to pretty print, this message is already pretty printed. But if you have anything which is not pretty printed like this one, you just select this button, it will pretty print automatically. And it's the same for JSON and it's the same for any text file. This window supports searching feature as well. You want to search anything, you can simply say, hey, this is what I want to search. You can see here it highlights automatically. And also you can see here how many occurrences are there, where it is. It supports regex expression, most of the needed features that you get from any tool like Notepad++, it's all available here itself. You don't have to switch to multiple windows. And if you want to add any new tag, I want to add a new tag, you can just simply say, hey, this is the tag I want to add. You can see here that it completes. The autocomplete is also available here by default. So on the fly, you can edit the values. On the fly, you can send any values using this editor. So let's trigger this message and see what happens. To trigger this message, there is a button, right Q. You simply select this button like this. See, you get a confirmation here that yes, the message has been sent to the queue. So how can I see the message? If you want to see that, just click this button, display queue, which will show all the messages available in test2.queue. It will ask you that if there are more number of messages, say there are more than 10 messages are there in a remote queue manager, and do you really want to read all the messages or just some 10 messages or 5 messages? This is to avoid reading all messages because this application may not be running in the same system where the queue manager is installed. So obviously that will take time to read all. So to avoid that, we have put some limitations that if you want, the default value is 10, but if you want to read all the messages, you can say yes. So now you can see here that there is one message, and this is the size of the message. And again, if you notice here, the size of the message is in a meaningful way. If you use RFHUtil, you don't get this one. You just get the value in bytes, which we cannot understand, or we have to use some other tool to convert the byte value in some other understandable format, right? But here you can see here it will show you in kilobytes and then megabytes, and accordingly automatically it identifies the size and show you in that format. And once the message format is used, so by default, if you use MQEdit, all the messages are written in MQ string format. And what's the time, and then which application is used to trigger, and what's the message ID. And if you want to see the message, you just click this button. It will take you to this editor and show you the message. If you want to see the correlation ID also, just click one of the rows that are available here, and in the bottom you will see what's the correlation ID. You just click this one, you will get it. If there are multiple messages sitting in the queue and you want to delete a specific message, that is also possible. All you have to do is just select this button. If you select this button, it will ask you, hey, do you want to delete? Yes. If it's yes, then it will tell you that yes, message deleted successfully, no messages found in the queue. Just click display queue, you see no messages found in the queue, right? So let's go back to the editor window, and if we want to trigger more than one message, there is a text field here where you can go and say that, hey, just I want to do some kind of load testing, so let me trigger 10 messages. So just provide here the value 10 and then click write queue. You can immediately see here that queue depth is increased to 10 now. Again, click display queue. So it is asking there are 10 messages. Do you want to read all? Yes. So you can see here there are 10 messages in the queue. If you want to delete any message, right? So let's say I want to delete this specific message. Just select this. Are you sure? Yes. So there are 9 messages in the queue. So it will ask you that, yes, do you want to read? Yes, you can say that, read all the 9 messages. So whenever you delete a message here, it deletes. Also, it prompts you that do you want to read the rest of the messages. By default, it reads the first 10 messages. If I want to read the message one by one, how can I do it? The window that we are seeing is just for displaying the messages. If I want to read the messages one by one, you can go with this option, read queue. Or if you want to read, say, a specific message, you just select this show message. It will take you to here. Let me delete all these and can select either any one of this button and see what happens. See, I can see the message in the editor window now. If you want to read the messages one by one, you can use this button also. The difference between using the Explorer and the Editor one is the Explorer is just browsing the message. It will not remove the message from the queue. But if you go with Read Queue button, it will read the message, which means it reads and deletes the message, just removes the message from the queue. Click Read Queue. You can see here the message is read. Let me delete this one and again click this button, read queue. You can see here the message is read now. Also, you can notice here that the queue depth gets decreased. Read queue, read queue, read queue. You can see here, right? If you want to purge the messages, how can I do it? Simply select this button, purge queue. It will prompt you, hey, do you want to purge all the messages? Select either one, depends upon what you need. If you want to really purge all the messages, say yes, purge queue. So it will say purge completed, right? Purge completed, display queue, no messages available in the queue now. Okay. If you want to move the messages from one queue manager to another queue manager, so this feature is cross queue manager. This is not from the same queue manager. You can select any queue manager that is already available from the configuration. Just click this button, move queue. It will ask you which queue you want to move. Right? You can select, hey, this is the queue I want. And where is the queue manager? I want to move to this queue manager. You select the target queue manager. How many messages you want to move? If you say -1, it will move all the messages. You have 100 messages or 1000 messages, all 1000 messages will be moved. Or if you want to limit the number of messages to move, you can say, hey, yes, just move the first 3 messages. Then it will move the first 3 messages from this source queue manager to target queue and target queue manager. And if you're getting any error, just error code you have, but you don't know what exactly that error code is meant, simply type that error code here. Let me type here the frequently used or frequently seen error message, that is 2033, and click the button. It will tell you that what does it mean. It means no messages available in the queue. What is 2085? How do I know that? Just come here and put the value, click expand code. It will tell you this is unknown object name, right? Whenever you put a wrong queue here, you will get this error. If you use RFHUtil, you just get 2085. You have to open Google and identify what is 2085. But if you use this tool, you simply put the value here and get the description immediately. So the number of times, how many times you want to trigger is the more helpful whenever we do a load testing. You want to trigger 100 messages, just simply say, hey, I want to trigger 100 messages, and then click write queue. The message will be sent 100 times. You can see the queue depth here. See, it's increased to 100 now. And this output queue is, whenever you work with any MQ-based message flows, there will be one input queue and then another output queue, right? If you are using RFHUtil, you have to open two windows, one for input and one for output. And switching back and forth is a bit difficult because sometimes it gets confused that which is the input and which is for the output. Sometimes you trigger a message to the output queue instead of the input queue. We felt that there should be one application which should have an option to read the message from input queue and output queue in the same window. So you can see here, the name here is input queue, and again, this is output queue. So you can select the output queue, whatever you have and whatever you want to read. You just say that, hey, this is my output queue. Can you read from here, right? If there is a message, then you will see that and it will read it for you if you have anything. So let me select test queue, and you see here the queue depth is decreased, right? Let me remove this message and click the button read queue. You can see we get the message here, right? So this saves you a lot of time. You don't have to switch to multiple windows. Even if you see that, hey, again, selecting the queues in the drop down is also a bit difficult. Is there a way that simply I can say switch queue names? Yes, you can simply click the queue names, and you see here it switches automatically, right? So it's all so flexible. You don't have to open multiple windows or open multiple editors. Everything you get here itself. Is it the only feature that is available here? No, we have included few more frequently required features. So just click these three dots. You will get a pop-up window which will show you all the queues that are available in this queue manager. So first I am selecting the non-system queues, right? The user-defined queues. So just click this one. So you can see what's the queue name and what's the queue type, whether it is a local queue, alias queue, remote queue, right? So you will get all the details here. And if it is part of the cluster, you will get the cluster name, when it was created, what's the current depth, and how many input count, how many output count. You will get all here. And also, if you want to see more about the queue, you can see here what's the max queue depth and what's the maximum message length. Again, if you notice here, see, it's immediately understandable. This queue can accept maximum of 4 MB. And inhibit put allowed, inhibit get allowed, right? So that also you get it here. Just click any row, you will get the details. And if you want to see the same for system queues, just click system queues. You get all the system queues. So, and again, this is a search window. If you want to search any queue that are available here, then select that, hey, show me the queue names, right? Okay. Right. If you want to see the queue properties, right? So the queue property is I want to see what is this test2.queue. To select this option, queue property. You can see here the queue name, what's the queue type, how many input count, output count, inhibit, right? It's so easy to get all these details in a single button. Click. And if you want to create a queue just for test purpose in the lower environment, if you want to create any queue, just provide the queue name and click yes. It will create a queue automatically in the queue manager. You don't have to open MQ Explorer. You don't have to issue any command to create the queue. Just select the option create queue, provide the queue here, click yes. It will create the queue. This is about purging selectively. You may have 100 messages. You don't want to delete all the 100, just few. How can I delete them? There is no way that you can do it in RFHUtil. So how can I do it? All you need is you just need the root element. just the first line of the root element, right? So just say this is my root element, give the root element, it will delete all the messages. Whichever is matching with that, all those messages will be deleted automatically. So let's see how it works. So let's go to the editor and see what's the root element here, right? So we have an XML version, this one, right? So and here there is an element invoice, right? So if you want to delete invoice, just take this root element, just say, hey, this is my root element, click yes, it will delete all messages that are available in this queue matching with this root element invoice. If you want to move the messages from one queue to another queue, again, I don't want to move all messages. Selectively, I want to move few messages. How can I do that? This is similar to purge selected messages, but this one is not going to remove the messages altogether. This is just moving the message from one queue to another queue, but selectively. But this is not a cross-functional queue manager. You cannot move the message from one queue manager to another queue manager selectively. This is just in the same queue manager, selectively moving the messages. So again, the same, what you see in the move queue, you will see the same here. Only different that you will see here is it is asking you what's the root element name, right? So just say, hey, this is the root element I want to move. So if you say this is the root element, and again you say which target queue you want to move, the messages you want to move, provide all these values and then click yes, it will move selectively only those messages matching with the root element name. We need this feature whenever we see that some messages has to be moved to some other queue for various reasons, right? So how can I do that? There is no options available by default in RFHUtil. So if you look from an IAB developer perspective or from an MQ admin perspective, they need all these features. They need the features like moving the messages from one queue manager to another queue manager, or in the same queue manager but to a different queue. Selectively purge the messages, selectively move the messages, right? So those are all the things an admin guy is always looking for. For a developer, so he wants to switch the messages from one queue to another queue. So how can I do that? So there is an options, as I explained earlier. You have an input queue and then output queue is there. So how can I move the messages from one queue manager to another queue manager? That's also available here. So I want to randomly generate a test message, right? So you can here itself, you can type whatever you want and simply select this option, write queue. So you will see that immediately the message is sent. So if you want to read the messages, yes, keep on clicking read queue, you will get all the messages right here, and you can just edit one of the value. Hey, this is the value I want to edit, and then if you want to write again, just click this button, write queue. Display queue, yes, see the messages. So there are 189 messages in the queue. I don't want to read all 189, just give me the default 10. So do you want to read all? No. So you will get only 10 messages. So you don't see it here because the filtering is there. So that looks for the matching value. There is no matching value with that timeout. So that's the reason earlier you didn't see that. Now you can see it here, right? So you can see here the 10 messages here. And how can I view the messages? So just click this I button. You will see the messages in the editor. Okay. So I hope you really need this product and to reduce your development effort and increase your productivity. So if you are interested to know more about this product, or if you want to buy this product, contact us. So in the description, I will provide the contact details, so you can contact us anytime. And not only about this product, if you are also looking for any development support, so we are well versed in eSQL, Java Compete Node, DFDL. How complex it is, we can do it. So we have done hundreds of message flows, hundreds of message modeling we have done, and we worked for many different companies, many different domains. So we have a very highly skilled resources, so we can deliver the project so within the time frame. So reach us for any of your IBM integration bus requirement. Thank you.